Hi, I'm Kacie Lueders, and this is Could Be Pretty Cool. Most people who reached the top of the opera world started young. Voice lessons as kids, conservatory in their 20s, a slow climb up through the regional houses. Morris Robinson did almost none of that. Welcome to Could Be Pretty Cool. This episode is a very special part of our Black Music Month series, and we're talking with creative entrepreneurs across the music industry. Morris Robinson sings bass with opera companies and symphonies all over the world. He's an artistic advisor to both the Atlanta Opera and the Cincinnati Opera, and he's the founder of the Black Opera Project. But the path that got him here ran through a few places you might not expect, and how he thinks about that path is actually a big part of what makes this conversation worth hearing. We get into how skills carry over from one career to the next, what real preparation looks like, the state of representation in opera, and what Morris would say to a young artist trying to break into the opera game right now. So today I am very excited to welcome a guest as a part of our Black Music Month series celebrating extraordinary stories from our creative entrepreneurs in various aspects of the music industry. Today we are welcoming Morris Robinson to the program. Hi, Morris.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good.
So I would love for you to tell the folks a little bit more about you, your background, and what it is that you do.
Oh, my name is Morris Robinson, professional opera singer. I sing classical music with not just opera, but classical music as far as oratorio, masses, etc., with operas, companies, and symphonies all over the globe. I started studying in 1999. I was the age of 30, so I came to the game quite late. But I've been doing it professionally ever since. And I'm still at it, still doing it, still loving it. And I'm trying to make some changes in the industry as I go along to leave my mark and my legacy on this business. So, yeah.
So that's interesting. One of the things that we like to highlight on this program is that no one's career trajectory is the same. There's no blueprint that says you have to start at 5 in order to be able to be at this level when you're in your 20s. Could you tell us a little bit more about what you were doing before you turned 30 and switched to classical music?
The long, short version of it is I went to a high school of performing arts. And whilst there, I was in the marching band and realized if I was in the marching band, I couldn't be on the football field. So in order to stay at that school, I had to join 2 periods of performing arts. So I quit the band and joined the chorus so I could fulfill that obligation to the art side and then join the football team. And those 2 worlds have coexisted for quite some time. I sang the Mozart's Requiem my junior year and had little bass solos. I sang the Haydn's Creation my senior year by Robert Shaw. His edition my senior year had all the bass solos. We toured. The School of the Arts toured Belgium, Paris, London. We went to Japan. We toured all over the United States. So I was doing that as part of my high school tour show curriculum, in addition to your standard arts and sciences and math, etc. And I was captain of the football team. And when it came time to leave and go to college, instead of taking what would have been a couple of music offers to go and study music, I decided to go play football at the Citadel Military Academy. And so that's what I was doing beforehand. It wasn't until the age of 30 when I got into the second tier of my career as a corporate sales executive, that I really just was wondering why I had this gift that God gave me and I wasn't using it. My wife set up an audition with me for the Choral Arts Society of Washington. I auditioned for them. They were shocked with what I could do. So that was the first inkling of a sign that maybe I had something to do further on in this business. I moved to New England for another job. I auditioned for the New England Conservatory. They had a weekend program. They took me in to the opera studio. One thing led to another. The next thing you know, I'm quitting my job and studying opera full time at the Boston University Opera Institute. From there, almost immediately, the Boston Lyric Opera heard me sing and offered me a role in Aida, and then the following year they offered me 3 more roles in Madame Butterfly and Don Giovanni and Salome. Then the year after that, I got into the Metropolitan Opera Young Artist Program, and since that moment, it's been a crazy trajectory in the opera world. So, no, there are traditional paths, and I do not speak against those. There's just, on some rare occasions, there are people that are acceptable that, and I say the industry really tested me along the way to make sure I was able to climb the ladder that I did. And I was blessed and fortunate enough to pass each of those tests along the way. So they kept accelerating me. So ever since then, I've been singing professionally. That's how I earn a living. That's how I feed the family. That's how I pay for college, pay the mortgages, the whole thing. So it's been a very interesting journey, but very rewarding as well.
Do you still, as someone who obviously has multi abilities, professional abilities, still sometimes struggle with, I also am still interested in doing this, and I maybe later on I'll try this next thing? Or are you now like, this is it, singing is it forever?
Well, it's funny that you ask that because they all overlap in some way. This is still the music business, and I am my own representation of my talent. I am the company. I'm the product. And I don't have a PR person. I never have had one. So I'm the marketing. I'm the PR. I'm all those things. And in addition to doing that, now at this point in my career, I'm also artistic advisor to the Atlanta Opera, artistic advisor to the Cincinnati Opera, and I'm involved with starting projects and initiating new works and things like that. So all that it draws from my experience of being in marketing, being in sales rep. I have to meet with people and try to convince them to invest in my projects, to donate money to the company for a cause. And that's all sales. Those are the things I practiced doing in my 20s. I was running multi-million-dollar territories when I was 24, 25, 26 years old. So I had a company car, a Spencer County. I knew how to communicate on that level. So I feel like those skills are not being malnourished. In fact, I'm flourishing because I have those skills and I'm able to utilize that cross-pollination of those skill sets. So it's working. I'm getting to use it all now. So
I think that's so important. I think so many people who want to pursue creative careers full time feel like, ugh, now I have to do just this 9 to 5 in order to pay bills. That doesn't have anything to do with my fashion line I want to launch. But what you said, you can learn so much from so many different aspects of the totality of your professional life.
I call them transferable assets. And you never know from whence you're going to garner this knowledge or from when that knowledge is going to be applicable to what it is that you're doing. But we all acquire skills over our lifetime that eventually may reveal themselves as being valuable in another unthought of, unheard of sense. And like I said before, the transferable assets I have even from athletics to singing or from the business world to the music business, those transferable assets aren't left malnourished. In fact, I'm drawing from them all the time in the various aspects of my career. Yeah, to answer your question, I don't ever feel as though I'm neglecting any aspect of what I am capable of doing. I feel as though I'm given an opportunity to manifest all of those varying degrees of information that reside within my brain to make this career go. So, yeah.
On that point, how do the different mindsets overlap? I know for us, we sometimes have to pitch at pitch competitions, which is a completely different mindset than hosting a panel in front of an audience, which is but I'm wondering, as someone who is an athlete, someone who was in corporate, do you pull from certain aspects of those experiences now in your life as a performer? Do you have a special performer mindset? How does that work?
That's interesting. First of all, I'm not an athlete anymore by any stretch of the imagination. I'm an old guy now. The funny part is that athletic mentality never leaves your mind. So you ask, do I draw from those experiences and make them applicable to my current experiences, even in characterization on stage or preparation every single day? Okay. My son is a Division I college athlete right now, playing football at my alma mater, and I was having a discussion with him and explaining to him how the mentality that he is developing, the don't quit attitude, he gets up every morning, he runs, he works out. That thing, I said, you don't know you don't know when you want to make the application, but at some point in your life, you're going to look back and say, I can do this because I did this. When I finish with you today, I'm going for my 5th and 6th hour of preparation this week on the new production of La Lavavi, which is one of the 3 operas in the Black Opera Project that I've started in Cincinnati, which we could talk more about later. But I talked to my kid and said, if you're not working out this summer, if you're not lifting weights, if you're not running, you're not going to be confident enough to go out and stand in front of this guy that's been working out all summer to kick your tail. And that alone motivates you to do what you need to do. Same thing with music. I don't want to be the person that's not prepared. I don't want to be the person who's the weak link. It is my responsibility and my job and my obligation. My accountability forces me to prepare insanely. And this is my 3rd weekend out in a row. I got done with one job and went straight to Houston to work with the conductor. I spent 2 hours a day with him every day of the week. I flew to Atlanta back home. I worked 2 hours a day with the coach there every day of the week. I'm doing the same thing this week with just that relentless mental obligation to your craft such that you don't let any opportunity to prepare slip by. I think that's very important. So I draw from that all the time, the mental toughness of being able to walk out in front of a crowd on a stage of 4,000 people, many of which don't look like you, to be able to walk out on stages in foreign countries and sing and speak in their native tongue. It takes a certain amount of intestinal fortitude and discipline and fearlessness and courage to go out and do those things. And so, yeah, my life, as I'm starting to discover, I was set up for this lifestyle long before I knew I was going to do this lifestyle because of all the varying aspects of my life that preceded this lifestyle. So,
wow, no, that's great. So many clippable moments in there. Okay, so can you remind me the name of the project that you're working on in Cincinnati?
So it's called the Black Opera Project. It's going to be 3 operas written by, directed by, libretto written by, stage directed by, stage sets designed by, costumes designed by. Every aspect of those 3 operas are going to be by Black artists.
So you mentioned all of the preparation that it takes to be ready to go out on stage and perform. And you specifically mentioned a lot of times you're performing for audiences where the majority of the time they don't look like you. You're performing in spaces where you may be one of the few, one of the only. And as we all know, circa 2020, several aspects of the performing arts nonprofit world went through a bit of a reckoning as the rest of the world was going through a reckoning where, you know, at the time I was working in arts nonprofits, we were looking in saying, are we as open and equitable as the materials that we put out saying that the arts are for everyone? When we look around at who are in positions of power, who are in positions of leadership, or who is being represented in these spaces, are we living up to what we say the arts do, providing spaces for community, for togetherness, etc.? So it's been 6 years since then, and the world is shifting in other places and other ways. And so I'm curious for you to not even just beat around the bush. As a Black man in this industry, I'm sure you have some thoughts about a variety of things. I'll just open the floor there.
Interestingly enough, the Black Opera Project was founded in the summer of 2019, before the pandemic, because Morris Robinson always felt that there was a gap in the repertoire, there was a gap in representation. Immediately after that, when the pandemic did start, Janae Bridges hosted a forum with LA Opera on a live stream and that's when I fired the shot heard around the world in our industry. I was drinking a glass of cognac and we were just having a nice talk. It was a national audience. I think we had 63,000 people watching at the time because nothing else is happening in our world. And I said, I've been in this business over 20 years. I've never had a Black conductor. I've never had a Black librettist. I've never had a Black stage manager, stage director. I've never had a Black person that hires singers in this business. And I've never had a Black CEO of a company that I work for, ever. And the whole industry went, oh God. But so then efforts, of course, started to try to rectify that situation and change the status quo. Since then, and there have been feeble attempts and there have been some people that say we're doing this the right way. Since then, we've had Quincy Roberts, a buddy of mine, who is now the president of the board at the Dallas Opera. We've had one of my mentees, Chandler Johnson, be the first Black artist liaison who hires singers at a major opera company, which he did for Santa Fe Opera. We have had, there's a Black president of the opera company now in Charlotte. I think Opera Carolina has a Black CEO, general manager. And then we've had lots of pop-ups of Black literature in the repertoire. The Black Opera Project differentiates itself simply because we're only desiring every aspect of this work to be done by us. Because anymore, when people are trying to make the change and address the deficiencies in the business, the first thing you hear is, we'd love to have Black conductors, but there aren't any in the pipeline. We'd love to have Black directors, but it's not really any of it. We'd love to have Black, but they just don't exist. The stage, there's no costume designers that, okay, we're going to check those boxes off one by one. So everyone, all hands on deck. We're going out and seek these. We're going to seek everyone that has the potentiality of fulfilling these gaps, and we're going to employ them. We're going to make it happen. It's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. It certainly takes effort and support, but yeah, it's been a difficult road, but I think we're addressing it right now, and I'm happy about it. And that was just one person. It's a bigger industry than Morris Robinson, but I'm hoping that with my presence and my influence and the things that we're doing, these things can go past just Cincinnati Opera, past the 96-hour opera project in Atlanta. So we'll see.
Speaking of the current events and where opera is being discussed in our society, earlier this year, there was a big to-do given a famous Hollywood actor making the statement, no one cares about the opera or the ballet. And I remember looking at opera companies on Instagram or TikTok, and they were almost taking this as fuel to be like, oh, we'll show you. And we're making sure that they were using this opportunity to be like, no, people care about the opera and the ballet and the theater and the classical cinema. I would love to know from your perspective, like when you heard that, did that strike you in any particular way? And why should people still care about the opera and the ballet and the symphony and all those things?
I was unfazed. It is not abnormal for someone like that to not have, first of all, people in Hollywood are very tunnel visioned. They only know what they know and they only support what they support. And they're always driven to go to the goal they want to go to. From my perspective, we have to embrace every aspect of the arts. We need actors, we need directors, we need costumers, we need makeup artists, we need musicians. So I love every aspect of the arts world. And opera is the one thing, the one art form that combines everything at once in a live performance manner. Yes, movies have soundtracks, but they're recorded in the studio and you have time to make mistakes and redo things. We are a live performance and we are right there right now happening in real time with every aspect of the arts on display at once. So if you can grasp that and understand that conceptually, you'll understand that you're watching some real magic happen right now in lifetime. So yes, I think it's very important. We have the ability to write things and put them into AI, correct them. You got spell check, you got editing software, you have studios you can go in and play instruments one note at a time and make a track. And that's talent also, but the real talent I think lies in the fact that you can get up and perform live right now in front of people in real time. And people are expecting to hear a flawless performance. And it's my job, and the orchestra's job, and the oboe player's job, and the cello player's job, and everyone involved, costume, all of us have to perform exactly right at the right time for everything to come together. So it's an amazing art form, and I think there certainly is a place for it. I wish that more people would put down their instantaneous gratification and delve into sitting down and giving something else your attention for about 2 or 3 hours. Other than a few places, everywhere I go, there's sold out crowds. So one person with a platform speaking negatively who got a lot of backlash. On the other hand, last week, Whoopi Goldberg went to La Traviata in LA and was like, y'all on the vehicle, where'd you hear this? And she just gave us the biggest push. I actually sent her a message and I hope that she responds to me. But so, it's not for everybody, but it's for a lot of people.
Nice. My final question for you, as we are continuing to move into whatever the world's going to look like, I don't know, in the next, 6 months, 2 years, who knows? Who knows? I, as a former music major, theater minor, at the tail end of the Great Recession, know exactly what it's like to have studied the arts, pursued the arts, and gone out into a world that did not always openly say, oh, you want a job? Come on in here, take this gig or take this internship. And so I'm thinking about the new grads or the new kids who are going to be entering school. Yeah. A lot of universities are cutting humanities programs and cutting fine arts programs. To that student who is like, no, I think I have a good operatic voice. I do want to get into this industry. I want to get into this business. I want to know how it works. What advice or, I don't know, even words of, here's something to think about, would you have for the next generation of Morris Robinsons?
I can tell you this. You can pursue other things with the hopes of establishing stability and making your parents happy or fulfilling the expectations of teachers or your friends or trying to keep up with the Joneses. But at some point, you're going to have to come back to that which you really love and appreciate. And if you have a love and appreciation for it now, then develop it, invest in it. You'll be happier doing this than you would be making money doing something that doesn't make you happy. Now, that doesn't mean that everyone that plays high school and college football is going to get to the pros. Same thing with basketball, same thing with baseball, same thing with tennis, golf, hockey, soccer, opera, music theater, conducting, instrumentation in the band, instrumentation orchestra. Everyone isn't going to make it to that level, but you'll have the edification and the education and the familiarity and the appreciation for that, which you love so much that there's always something for you to do. In fact, every time I've gone to major opera companies, my first few years at the Metropolitan Opera, I was walking downstage by the ballet studio, and I heard some incredible music being played on the piano. I walk in there, and there was a person in marketing. I was like, "You play piano?" "Oh, I have a degree in piano performance from Juilliard." "What?" So, didn't make it to that level, but still incredibly beautiful musician, still has opportunities to perform, still has opportunities to utilize that gift and contribute to the art form in a meaningful way where they feel fulfilled. There's so many positions where you can utilize your love and enthusiasm for the arts. So don't let anyone talk you out of pursuing it. I wouldn't change my path. My path is different, but I always had music. I played football in college. I was the director of the gospel choir. I was singing the national anthem at sporting events. I was singing the Lord's Prayer at all my teammates' weddings. So it never really got away from me. It just took time for me to find out where I should be. And I did. I made money in corporate America. I bought houses and stuff. I had company cars. Like I said, I made money, but I was miserable. Now, I can't wait. I have to hang out with you now and get to Morehouse College to work with my coach there who teaches piano there. And I'm excited. I never dread going to work because I don't really go to work now. So, yes, my advice to someone that wants to pursue any career in music is to pursue it. And not just your hard work, but your talent, stars aligning, the Lord's will determine where you end up.
That's amazing advice. Morris, thank you so much for coming on Could Be Pretty Cool today. If people want to find out more about you, about the Black Opera Project, about any of the things that you have going on, what's the best way for them to do that?
My website is morrisrobinson.com, and my Instagram is at MDRBASS, at MDRBase on Instagram. I have lots of information on both of those sites. So if you want to find out information about me, plug into those, you'll find me.
A few things stuck with me from that conversation. First, the idea of transferable assets. Morris pulls from his years in corporate sales and from athletics every day as a performer. And his point was that you never know when a skill you picked up somewhere else is going to become the thing that carries you forward. So that day job doesn't have to feel like a detour from your creative work. Second, I was struck by how seriously Morris takes preparation. He talked about working 2 hours a day with a coach 3 weeks in a row because he refuses to be the weak link. That level of discipline is a big part of how someone gets to keep doing this at the highest level. And finally, Morris's advice for anyone trying to break into the industry: pursue the thing you love, even if you can't exactly see where it leads. Not everyone makes it to the top of any field, but the appreciation and the skill you build means there's always a way to stay connected to the work in a way that fulfills you. For deeper analysis and tips on building a creative career, find us on Substack. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. Farewell, and may all of your creative endeavors flourish. Could Be Pretty Cool News is a Could Be Pretty Cool original production. Created, hosted, and executive produced by Kacie Lueders. Senior producer is Liz Moore, and supervising sound editor is Trinity Jackson. Our original theme music was composed by Camille Stennis and cover art design by AJ Johnson. To learn more about Could Be Pretty Cool and discover whatever else we're up to, visit us at couldbeprettycool.substack.com. Thank you for listening.